Hey, we're going to a show. Half an hour.
Oh, see, I might be dead by then.
Oh, yeah, you might. But if you're not dead, it's short and it's in the city. When's the last time you were in the city?
Last time was supposed to be the last time.
Well, here's another time.
You're listening to Fun with Horror with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Scotty.
And welcome to episode 130 of Fun with Horror. We are the movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends stay in touch by taking turns giving each other horror movies to watch, and then we discuss them.
That's right. And last episode, it was my choice, and I chose A Quiet Place Day 1.
Ooh.
And of course, stay tuned to the end of the episode when we get to hear what Andrew is going to pick for our next movie. But until then, hey, buddy.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
What have you seen? Have you done anything? What's going on? I don't think we have much to talk about, really.
Not much. I will say this morning, because we're recording this, full transparency, on September 1st, which to me is kind of my... I feel like September 1st is sort of the Halloween season, man. So I went and got a pumpkin latte. I'm okay admitting that. I love those. And I listened to John Carpenter on the way there. And the Halloween, sorry, I should say that. John Carpenter's Halloween theme on the way there. And it was the weather's changing a bit. The leaves are turning orange. I mean, today, I love September 1st. It's the beginning of the best. So yeah. That's me.
The weather is changing. In LA, it's going to get in the hundreds this week. So,
oh, Lord. Oh, my gosh. I'm so...
My favorite city.
Sorry.
But
Seattle, it's like, 70s. So,
I hate you so much.
Sorry.
I love Seattle.
I know.
But thank you for reminding me of something. I just put my new glow-in-the-dark Halloween bed sheets on my bed this weekend.
What? That's amazing. Oh, my gosh.
I got them from
awesome.
Pottery Barn Teen.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but that's cool.
Yes, and they are so cool.
Dude, take a picture later. I want to see, because that's awesome.
I'll send you a picture.
Are you going to be under the sheets? You know what? Here's what you do. Record a video of you under the sheets saying, see anything you like, and I think people will appreciate that.
Let's just, let's just end this confusion. I mean, yes, that would be great, but...
Thank you.
I'm going to end this confusion right now. Check your phone. One second.
I got it.
Jeez, where is it?
See?
There we go.
Now who's silly?
Boom. Okay, look at this picture.
Right.
I sent you 2 pictures.
Oh. Oh, that's amazing. Dude, that's awesome. And I love that your little baby Chucky's right there. Oh. Dude, those are sick.
I think Chucky's an adult.
But he's so little and cute,
Charles Lee Ray, though.
Didn't he strangle people?
I think that was the least of what he did.
That I always wondered that, because he was the Strangler. Didn't they know him as the Strangler? And we never really saw him strangle much.
Oh, we didn't? I don't know.
Not much.
I love Chucky, but I'm not a child's play expert, so.
There you go. Well, I studied it in college for years and years, so.
Oh, that's a great course to take.
Can you imagine? Dude, that would be awesome. Oh my gosh.
Course on Chucky.
Oh, I'm going to look into it.
Before we go any further, let's take a moment real quick, even though we don't have any new ones.
Yes, yeah.
Let's take a moment and say thank you to our patrons with horror.
Thank you, patrons with horror. We genuinely appreciate you.
Yes, and we love all of you.
We love all of you. That's true.
Let's talk about what we have coming up real quick. We've got some stuff coming up with Fun with Horror. We're going to have our regular bi-weekly episodes, which this is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually going to post sometime in September or October, I'm going to post our very first patron exclusive episode. I did the coffee table with our friend Colby.
Right. Yes.
It was a good episode. I don't really love having guest hosts just on Patreon. And I also want to give everybody that's not a patron right now, I want to give them a taste of what we're doing on Patreon.
Yeah. No, I think that's great.
So the rest of the episodes are going to stay exclusive, but just that very first one, I'm going to release as a regular episode sometime in the next month or two.
Love it. I love it.
On Patreon, we have our ongoing Haunting of Hill House series.
Yes.
We've done episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 9 episodes to go, and those will happen whenever we have time. There's no set schedule.
But they will happen.
They will happen. At some point on Patreon, I'll be doing Scotty's Alone Time, or with guest hosts, I'll be doing the VHS series at some point, which I've never seen any of them.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
That'll be good.
We've got our Friday the 13th episode coming up.
Nice.
I'll be joined by Stanley, our friend Stanley from the Gory Gaze. He's going to join me like usual, and we're going to do Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
That's a great
And who
one.
knows? We haven't recorded yet. Who knows? Andrew may jump in and say hi. We're not sure yet. We'll see. It may just be me and Stanley. It's according to Andrew's family life and busy schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
There was just a 6.6 magnitude earthquake in Papua New Guinea, by the way.
Oh, man. Okay. Hopefully everyone's all right.
My quake feed. You know what? They get a lot of earthquakes in Papua New Guinea. I'll tell you that much.
That's fair.
Anyway,
they're
as I
ready
was,
for it.
they are ready for it. We also have coming up soon. We're going to have, hopefully in October, an episode with our friend Justin Beam of Reverend Entertainment, and he's going to talk about Gretel and Hansel with me.
Awesome. That's awesome. That'll be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It should be a cool episode in which we talk about the movie, but we also talk about the bonus features that he produces for these Blu-rays. So
awesome.
I'm pretty excited about that.
That'll be really cool. Yeah, everything I see him doing or working on, it's pretty outstanding. It's really cool. Yeah.
He just announced Shout Factory's The Wolf Man.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
And A Simple Plan is coming out. That was just announced that he did some of the bonus features for.
Nice.
It's just awesome.
Dude, I will say The Wolfman, I feel, is a very underrated movie. Just throwing that out there.
Real quick, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Dumb little story.
Yeah.
I saw it one time when it came out.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't totally blown away by it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you, JD, you guys both, especially JD, our friend JD,
Yeah.
he loves that movie, and he kept singing its praises over the years. And I always meant to watch it again. I even bought it on Apple.
Nice, yeah.
But I never got around to sitting down and watching it. And I even told Justin this last week. I said, I think it's a sign that I was supposed to wait to watch it until I get the Blu-ray in.
It was. It absolutely was a sign.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, it's perfect timing. And look at the time of the year. I mean, it's perfect.
Perfect.
I love
Perfect. You know what else is perfect?
What?
This is Frodo.
A Quiet Place Day One was written and directed by Michael Sarnoski. It was also written by John Krasinski. It stars Nico and Schnitzel as Frodo, and then some other actors. Right?
That was good, buddy. I love that.
No, just kidding. It's also got co-stars Lupita Nyong'o as Samira, Joseph Quinn as Eric, Alex Wolff as Ruben, and Djimon Hounsou as Henri. Andrew.
Yeah. Well,
go.
I guess it's me. Yeah. Hey, buddy. Line.
I forget how we podcast. How do you podcast?
Here's what we should do. I'll ask you, because you just explained kind of who's in it and everything. Why don't I ask you? Because I think we're all curious. What did you think of this movie?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen this movie 3 times. And let me tell you, once again, grand opinion. Every single time I watch this movie, it gets better. The first time I watched it, I'll be honest, I think this is a movie, especially if you're a cat lover, that needs to be seen 2 times.
Okay.
Because the first time I saw this movie in theaters, I was completely distracted by my worry for the cat.
Yes.
For Frodo. I was just so distracted, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But the second time, I knew everything that was going to happen, so I was able to focus on the human characters and the plot and everything. Man, let me tell you, the third time, tears down my face. Like, this movie just got better every single time, because every single time I focused more and more on the human emotional experience. And that's what this movie is to me. It's a human experience with the backdrop of a monster invasion.
Right.
And I think this movie's brilliant. I hesitate at saying that it's my favorite of the series, because I still think part 1 is my favorite. But it's easily my second favorite.
Wow. Okay.
And at some point, I'll rewatch A Quiet Place Part 1 and make a full decision on which movie I actually prefer.
Okay. Wow.
Andrew, you've seen this once?
Yes.
What did you think of your one viewing of this movie?
So maybe I need to watch it a few more times, because I liked it. It was good. But in the world of A Quiet Place, it was definitely, in my opinion, I felt it was the weakest of the 3. Mind you, well, we'll talk about things that may have come into play for that as well, such as seeing it, the other ones in theaters, blah, blah, blah. So, but it was a good movie. I'm not saying it was bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying of the 3, this was my least favorite, but I am very excited to talk to you about it, because anytime you and I talk about this, I feel like my love for a movie, especially if you love it more than me, always grows. So I'm excited to talk to you about this. I really am.
It blossoms, if you will.
You're planting the seeds.
That has nothing to do with the movie. I thought you were going to say it blossoms.
I like that. I do like that. That's a good way to say it.
So before we get into it, of course, Andrew and I are about to spoil A Quiet Place Day 1. If you haven't seen it, this is your chance to pause the podcast. I doubt we're going to really spoil A Quiet Place 1 and 2 too much.
Yeah.
There are a couple of small things we might mention about those 2.
Or even a character.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think you're pretty safe. We'll warn you if we decide we're going to spoil A Quiet Place 1 or 2, and if you haven't seen those.
Yeah.
But anyway, Andrew, let me get out my virtual 20-sided die as usual.
Gosh, I don't know why I was not even thinking about the 3-minute recap this week. So if it's me, it's gonna be, it's gonna be rough, buddy.
Buddy, do you ever think of the 3-minute recap?
I don't, but especially this week for some reason, I forgot there was a cat in this. So.
Maybe. What does that mean?
No, I'm just kidding. Nothing. I don't know. I'm just being.
I have no idea what that means.
I forgot it so much. I forgot there was even a cat.
I'm gonna say usually your little jokes are a 10, and I still don't know what that one means.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Just go with it. Maybe someone listening is like, "Oh, solid joke, Andrew. Solid joke."
I hope so.
It's that one guy that has like a head in his freezer. So we'll see.
Also, going back to our intro, I prefer the apple crisp shaken espressos. Okay, so I'm going to roll the die. You just tell me when to stop, and if it's on odd, you're doing the 3-minute recap. If it's even, I'm doing it.
Oh gosh. All right. Stop.
It's a 12. I'm doing it.
Oh, thank you, God. Okay. I shouldn't. I guess I did not need to have peed my pants, but I'll be warm the rest of this podcast.
I've seen this movie 3 times, so that helps me, but I did not prepare for this 3-minute recap. This is total memory.
Nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as you mentioned, it's 3 minutes. I do want you to know, though, if you get past 3 minutes, or if you get a little bit too loud, I did find a couple monsters that are willing to hurt you real bad, but not your cats. I did mention cats are off limits, so we should be good.
As long as my cats are okay,
yep,
I'm happy.
That was part of the deal. I said cats are off limits, and the monster said, which meant okay. So we're good.
But let's just wait for some rain so I can talk under the rain, and then the creatures won't hear me.
Look at you.
So let's just wait for about an hour.
Well, I would say less than that if you come and visit me.
That's true. Hey, and by the way, I'm just gonna do a quick aside while we're talking about the rain. Go to Apple Music, go to Spotify, look up The Listening Planet. I used to love special effects albums.
Uh-huh.
I used to have like a full album of frogs croaking, and it was like very peaceful.
Sweet.
But The Listening Planet goes around and records nature, and it's no music, but it's beautiful. It's like the best.
Oh, that's perfect for night. I love that. That's awesome.
So anyway,
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
A Quiet Place Day 1 centers on a woman named Samira, played by Lupita Nyong'o. She is in a hospice. At the beginning, her and her hospice crew, people, they all go to a marionette show. She doesn't want to go, but she is tempted by the promise of pizza in the city. And we find out why that's so important to her a little bit later on. She's got a cat, and this cat is named Frodo. This cat stressed me the hell out the entire movie. So basically, they watch the marionette show, they get back on the bus, and then all hell starts to break loose. The aliens this is day 1 of the alien invasion that we've seen in A Quiet Place 1 and Part 2. The aliens are crashing. She ends up not dying, but she ends up getting knocked unconscious. And she wakes up in this theater where everybody is huddled at night now. Somebody has her cat, so her cat's okay. And everybody's being quiet. So everybody has learned by now that you have to be very quiet or else the monsters will kill you. It's not a complicated story, even though it is. There's a moment where one of the monsters comes into the lobby because her cat rings a little bell accidentally. But then the monster hears sirens outside and runs outside, and there's a stampede of these creatures running for this siren. They go out on the roof. They see the bridges being destroyed. We don't know why yet, but the bridges are being destroyed. Her caretaker, Ruben, is unfortunately killed by one of the monsters when he tries to turn off the generator when all the power goes out, and the generator starts making noise. Samira decides that she is going to make her way to Harlem. On her way to Harlem, on her journey, she comes across pretty much a big march of people, like all these people from New York that have gathered and are heading towards, I believe, the waterfront, because it's been kind of found out that these aliens do not like water. They do not survive in water. So all these people are heading, but as you can guess, a lot of people, thousands of people walking on a single road in New York City makes a lot of noise, and the creatures suddenly start attacking the people. Samira makes it. She gets into an alley. Her cat runs away. Oh, the stress. And then we meet Eric. Eric is a British guy. We learn that he's British. He comes up sputtering from some water, and he's freaking out a little bit at first, kind of quietly, though. And the first thing he sees is Frodo the cat looking at him through the bars of this staircase. Frodo then finds his way back to Samira, and Eric follows. Eric keeps following Samira, even though she tells him she doesn't want him following her. So she says, let's just get out of the rain. They go up to what seems to be her old apartment that she used to live in. And they realize that they can talk quietly underneath the rain and the creatures won't hear them. So that happens. The next morning, Samira tries to leave Eric behind. She goes and she's looking at some books, and Eric follows her. There's a sequence in which they make some noise and they are chased by the monsters, and they just barely make it away by the skin of their teeth by going down this underwater tunnel where one of the monsters tries to chase them and drowns. They end up in this church. Samira, we find out, needs these fentanyl patches, and they are basically just to maintain her pain level because she's on her deathbed. She is almost dying. We assume kind of that it may be cancer, but we're not sure. They never really say in the movie. It doesn't matter. We just know that she's dying. Eric goes out of the church to go get her fentanyl patches. And, people say fentanyl, and it looks like it's spelled fentanyl, but maybe it's fentanyl. Whatever. Eric goes and gets her patches. He comes across this weird farming area where the creatures are farming what turns out to be humans, dead humans, to feed each other. It's pretty nasty. Eric goes to rescue Frodo, who has walked in there and gets up on this scaffolding or whatever. Eric makes his way back to Samira finally, gives her the patch. They go to Harlem to Patsy's Pizza, where Samira had pizza with her father who passed away a while back. Patsy's is gone. Eric and Samira end up in the bar that her father used to play in, where there's a really touching scene. Eric goes and gets her pizza from a much worse place, but at least he gets her the pizza. He writes Patsy's on the box. It's very nice. Then he sees a deck of cards, and he starts doing a card trick as if he's on stage as a magician, and it's a really touching moment. So we have this moment. They go through that. Then the climax of the movie, they go outside. They see this boat out on the water with all these people on it. They are safe on the water because the creatures can't reach them through the water. Samira gives Eric her sweater, which, again, we're going to talk about because that's meaningful. She gives him her sweater, and they make their way close to the waterfront. Samira says, basically, Eric's freaking out. He has panic attacks, it turns out. She gives Eric Frodo the cat. As soon as he holds Frodo, he's like you can tell he's better. But basically, Samira has a plan. She's going to make noise. Her time is done. She wants Eric to survive. So she's going to make noise while Eric runs, which is what happens. She's making car alarms go off and avoiding the creatures while they're distracted. And Eric is running down to the dock with Frodo the cat, and he makes a noise, and suddenly the creatures turn on him and they start chasing him. And at the last minute, he jumps off the dock. The creatures barely miss grabbing him, and he makes it to safety. And he swims to the boat where we see Henri, who was in the theater, Djimon Hounsou. We see him. He's on the boat, and Eric is safe. The last scene, Samira goes back to the bar. She's looking at a picture of her dad and her when she was a little girl. And then she walks out onto the street. She's playing Nina Simone through a little boombox with her headphones attached. And she stands in the middle of an intersection. And she unhooks the boombox, making a lot of noise. And the last thing we see is her standing there with her eyes closed as one of the creatures drops down from the sky behind her. And that's the end of the movie.
Man, good work. Just under 2 minutes. Or 3 minutes, excuse me, just under 3 minutes. Just under 2. It's a quick one. So yeah,
Wow.
Monster's not coming for you, but well done. Well done, buddy. That was great.
Dude, I almost got tears in my eyes just talking about the end. Like, I was like, wow, dude, wow.
Yeah, there was definitely some glistening going on. I was like, oh, right on, man. I love it.
Ugh, wow.
Yeah. A funny movie, I would say. Funny
Yeah,
one.
it's big comedy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, buddy. I wanna start by we're gonna talk about the cat first, or second, because the first thing I want to mention is that I prepared for this podcast, this episode, by rewatching A Quiet Place Part 2. And why did I do this? Because I didn't realize until I was watching the bonus features that Henri, I totally forgot that he was in A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
So we're basically seeing kind of the origins of Henri before he ends up on the island in A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yes. Very true.
So I was like, I don't remember him at all. I'm going to rewatch Quiet Place Part 2.
Nice.
So I watched that, but I also watched the movie Pig, starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I've seen Pig.
You've seen Pig?
I've seen Pig. Yes.
All right. We're not going to talk about it too much. Because honestly, I can't really talk about that movie without spoiling it.
Yeah, really, yeah.
But the director was Michael Sarnoski. He wrote and directed Pig. So,
I did not realize that. Awesome. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I wanted to see what he had done before this movie.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. I like that.
So let's talk about Frodo, the cat.
Well, first of all, that name.
Yes.
So perfect.
Believe me, when I was watching in the theater,
yeah,
because I saw this the first time in theaters,
uh-huh.
and when she introduced her cat to the little boy in front of her at the marionette show, I was just like, are you kidding me with that name? Frodo?
Yeah.
Are you? Come on.
Yeah. I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh gosh, that's perfect. Scotty's going to love this.
How did you feel about the cat during the movie, your first viewing?
So you know what? I wasn't worried about the cat. I really thought, I don't think this is going to be the movie where the cat's going to die. I knew Lupita, or I knew her character's name.
Samira.
Thank you, Samira, which I should remember.
Are you talking about the character name that I kept saying all through the 3-minute recap?
You did a 3-minute recap? There we go. That one landed. Okay. I'm back, baby.
Except for that one person that loved your joke.
That's right. But again, he has a head in his freezer, so we're not sure about him. Or she. You're right. Hey, either way. No, so I knew that Samira was going to die. And I thought, likely, in my head...
How did you know?
She was in hospice, man. I knew that. Truly, from the beginning, when I saw that she was in hospice, transparency, my mom was in hospice and only survived 1 week, and then she passed away. So I knew hospice is rough, and it really, sad to say, but there's not a lot of time left when there's hospice.
I think I missed the part that said hospice, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. I think the cat distracted me so much that there's a lot I missed the first time I saw the movie.
Fair. That's fair. But I did catch that. And so I knew, I said, she's not going to make it. And I immediately thought she's going to sacrifice herself for someone else because she does not have much time left. And of course she's going to save someone else. Knowing this, knowing that she was likely going to be the one to die, I wasn't worried about the cat. I said, I don't think the cat's going to die. Frodo's going to go through a lot of crap, but Frodo's not going to die. So I was nervous when we saw Frodo do certain things, but I wasn't afraid that Frodo was going to die, if that makes sense. At least in my mind, that was kind of what I was thinking, is Frodo's not going to die. We already have our main characters going to die. Frodo's going to be okay.
Buddy, that is not the experience I had. I don't know that I actually thought Frodo was going to die.
Okay, yeah.
But I was so concerned for this damn cat. And let me tell you how concerned I was for this cat.
Oh, no.
During the big march through New York with all the people and stuff goes crazy, and the cat runs off.
Yes.
I was sitting in the theater going, just please that be the end of the cat. Like, the cat runs off. We don't ever learn the cat's fate after that, but we don't see it die. It's just gone.
Right. Sure. Yep.
And so when the cat showed back up, I was like, oh, no, come on, stop. And it's chasing the little mouse. I'm like, come on, dude. Because here's what I was thinking. And this is going to lead into my one tiny quibble with this movie.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I give this movie 4.5 stars instead of 5.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the trend on TikTok or social media or whatever of people doing the Quiet Place test with their cats.
Oh, not with their cats. No, I've seen people do it with people. I've not seen cats.
No, they do it with their cats, where they like walk with their cats to see if they would survive a Quiet Place day one.
Oh, no.
My cats would have me dead.
Well, especially Ziggy.
Especially Ziggy. But even Bowie, because once I hold Bowie for long enough, she's like, meow. She wants to be put down.
Yeah.
I wish there had been a little more background to Frodo than just that he was a service cat. Or she. I think Frodo was a she.
I think so, too. Yeah, I think so, too.
Because I would have liked to have, maybe my cat is a mute service cat. My cat's a mute. That would be a little bit, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? Convenient?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I guess if that had happened, we wouldn't have been as worried about the cat making a noise. Because that's what I was worried about. I was worried about, here's this cat, it's just going to make a simple little meow noise
and be gone.
And die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there we go. Or it would get humans killed because it makes noise.
Yeah. Yep.
Man. So yeah, I was concerned about the cat the entire movie, and
That's fair.
that's all I cared about.
There was, I will say, knowing the cat would, or at least thinking the cat would live, I should say. Because I didn't know, but I thought it. There was one scene that did have me stressed for the cat, especially, where you are probably maybe thinking what I'm thinking, maybe underwater. That cat is in her bag, underwater, that whole time, and I'm sitting there going like, the cat.
I was worried for the cat,
Uh-huh.
but to be honest, that was one of the two scenes. There's two scenes where the cat's in water.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I wasn't worried about the cat drowning at all.
I wasn't either. I just was like, that poor cat is in a bag, doesn't know what's happening, and then all of a sudden it's filled with water. Like, I was thinking, like, if I was in a freaking sack and someone put me underwater, that's horrifying. That's scary.
True, but I think my movie mind still said there's not a real cat in that bag.
That's fair.
Like, the cats definitely got wet. There's two cats.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Nico and Schnitzel played Frodo, and let me tell you, only one of those cats has those distinctive markings on its head.
Mm.
They used a very humane hair colorist to dye the other cat's hair identical to the first cat.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, I know a lot about Nico and Schnitzel. Nico was the cat who was more of the walking cat.
Okay.
A lot of the scenes where he walked around, that was Nico. Schnitzel was the other one.
Okay.
And strangely enough, they had hardly any problems with these cats.
Wow. Right on.
Except for like stupid things, like when they're standing outside the Marionette Theater and the bus just does its little air brakes.
Yeah.
You know, the cats didn't like that noise.
Oh.
But they were fine in other areas. And there are a couple times where you can see the cats just kind of like, what the hell?
Right.
You know?
Yep.
But it was very important that they used real cats almost throughout the entire movie. There's obviously a few scenes where the actors are holding a stuffed cat.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of scenes where if you look, it's very impressive and surprising to see that is a real cat.
That's fair. Oh, yeah. I would agree with you on that, man. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. Kitty.
And it was funny to hear Michael Sarnoski talking about it because, you know, he directed the movie Pig, which features an actual pig.
Right. Yeah.
But the pig is only in the movie for a little bit.
Right. Yes. Yep.
You know, that's not a big spoiler. It's about a guy who has a truffle pig that gets stolen.
Right. That's the story.
Yeah, the majority of the movie is Nicolas Cage trying to get his pig back.
Right.
Michael Sarnoski was talking about that, and he was saying how after doing just those few scenes with a pig, he was like, I'm not doing another movie with an animal in it. And then they get this movie that the entire movie features this cat.
Seriously.
So.
Oh my gosh.
But that's it. That's my tiny nitpicky thing. I wish they had, of all the things in this movie about creatures that come from space and are very sensitive to sound, the one thing that stretched my believability was that this cat went all these moments without making a single peep.
That's fair. No, I think that's a pretty solid point. That makes sense.
I think the only time we hear from the cat is at the beginning in Samira's room.
Right.
And then I think it makes a tiny little meow in the water with Eric at the end.
Yes, for sure. Yep. That's true. Yeah. Good point.
So.
I agree with you, though. I agree with that. That does make sense.
So talk about your quibbles.
Well, I mean, honestly, I guess I was not. So I'm going to compare a little bit to the first two. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you don't know anyone's fate in those ones. Really. I mean, you're sitting there worried about a family. In fact, the first one starts with a bang where you go, oh, wow, everyone, I mean, anything can happen. This one, yeah, anything can happen. But the fact that she was in hospice, it immediately, I said, she's not going to make it. There's not a lot of, this sounds horrible, but there's not a lot of, I mean, she's likely going to die soon. I'm not as worried about her as maybe the other movies where you're like, are they going to live? Are they going to die? I don't know. I knew that she was going through something horrible and did not have much time either way. So for me, I was like, I just didn't have. I wasn't as nervous because I said, well, you know, I mean, we kind of know. At least I did. I was like, I kind of know what's coming, sort of, you know. So it took out some. I can't think of the right friggin' word, but it took out some of that like angst, I guess. That the first two, I really felt. I really felt it. So that was kind of a big one. Well, I guess really that's kind of my big quibble.
That's interesting because rewatching part 2, I felt that anxiety that you're talking about. And I can't say it was enjoyable. And that's why I like this movie more than 2, because I felt like the real human story was in part 1.
Yes, agreed.
Like the story of the family was amazing. And I felt that part 1 was a masterclass in suspense.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it was fun. There's things in part 2 that I was watching and I was like, this is really good, but it's almost too much and it's not fun. And there are some character moments that kind of pull me out of that movie watching it a second. This was only my second time watching part 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right on.
While I believed most of the actions of the characters, there was a couple where I was like, come on, man. Like, you guys wouldn't be in this situation if you hadn't done this stupid ass thing that you just did.
That's true. Yep. That's true.
So what did you think of, let's talk about Lupita.
Well, she's such a phenomenal actress anyway, but to see her in this, like, she can do no wrong. I mean, period. Like, that's it. She just can't do wrong. She's so good. She's so good. And especially this role. I mean, this is a heavy role. A heavy role. Not only the fact that she close to death, but then also to bring in all this emotion from family and her past, her history. I mean, there's a lot of deep moments in this movie, as well as having to be in pain this whole time. I mean, oh man, what a character, and she was the perfect fit for this because she knocked it out of the park.
Completely. She actually lost a lot of weight for the role. She said that losing that weight also gave her a vulnerability that was perfect for playing Samira, because she would get really exhausted doing some of these action sequences, and she really felt the weakness of her character.
Wow. And
the vulnerability that gave her really allowed her to play this part perfectly. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I think she's one of the greatest female actors today out there.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
And watching her journey in this movie, especially the second and third time, which is why I really would like you to watch this a second and third time. In fact, I never pressure you into watching a movie more than once for the podcast, but there was a part of me that was almost like texting you and say, try and watch this a second time, buddy, because you really do focus on the character's journey. I mean, you have this woman who at the beginning, as you said, she's on her deathbed.
Right.
The first time I watched it, I didn't realize why going to get pizza was so important to her.
Right.
I caught it the second and third time that she had no idea she could die tomorrow.
Right.
And this might be her last chance to go get pizza at this place that she went to with her dad. In fact, she says in the hospice at the beginning something, I forget what they say leading up to it, but she says, I thought the last time was the last time.
Right.
Meaning the last time she was in the city, she thought that was going to be her last time in the city before she died.
Right. Yep.
But then to watch this person who knows she's on death's door work so hard throughout this movie to survive what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of working so hard to survive? And it's human nature is part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're ingrained to try to survive things, even if, just like the movie shows, some of us are pretty stupid at it.
Yeah.
Like the girl standing in the middle of the intersection screaming for her partner.
Yeah. Dude, come on.
But like that was believable. There are people, there's going to be people like that.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Unfortunately. Yeah.
But Samira stayed smart the entire time. She never made a lot of noise. She worked to make her noise under other noises and stuff. It was beautiful. And then we find out that her dad was a really good jazz musician, a pianist, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
We find out that she is actually a published poet.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Another scene, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry to keep going on, but another scene that got me the second and third time was the scene where Eric is in her apartment and he reads her poem.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's a poem about her not knowing how much time she has left.
Yeah. Yeah. Heavy.
The way she gets weaker throughout the movie, like the scene in the bar at the end, like you can see her just like hanging on, but being so weak.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
And it's just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
She's so good, dude.
Honestly. Yeah. We've sang her praises. She's brilliant. She's so brilliant.
Did you realize that was her dad's sweater the first time you saw the movie?
No, that I did not. No, until we see the picture or whatever.
I didn't even make the connection when I saw the picture at the end.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That was when I think it hit. Yeah.
I didn't even realize it the second time I saw the movie. What made me realize it was the bonus features that come with the movie.
Nice.
And during the bonus features, they're talking about her journey and the sweater, and they were talking about like the costuming and how important the color and everything of the sweater was. And then they showed the picture during that bonus feature, and I was like, oh my God. So yeah, the third time I saw the movie, I was crying my eyes out at the end.
Oh my God.
I was like, because then you know what the look on her face when she puts the sweater on Eric.
Yep.
You know what the look on her face means, and it's just kills me.
Yeah.
Kills me, buddy.
I get you, man. Believe me. Yeah, I saw it in the picture for sure, and I was like, oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's heavy, man. This movie, it's heavy. This is a heavy movie. It really is.
I think it's heavy, but I think it's beautiful.
Oh no, I agree. I'm not arguing.
It's a beautiful heavy. There's certain movies. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you were
right
arguing against that. I was just saying I'm agreeing with you. It's a very heavy movie if you get into the human aspect of it, but I think it's beautiful. Whereas some heavy movies are just heavy, and
you're right.
They leave you with this feeling.
Yeah,
but this one left me with a feeling of like she went out on her own terms.
Yes, I liked that a lot, actually. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't imagine how horrifying it would be to be killed by one of those creatures, but at the same time, she chose for the creatures to kill her instead of letting the sickness kill her.
Right, exactly. And I loved that. I actually loved that she went out on her own terms. Because I was like, you know what? I'm still going to die the way I need. You're not going to win sickness. Like, I liked that a lot. And I loved, and the song was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, it was perfect. I was like, I even have goosebumps now. I was like, you could not have picked a better song to end with that moment. It was perfect.
I got such chills the first time. As soon as I heard Nina Simone's voice, I was like, oh my God. Because I love Nina Simone.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorite songs. I think it's brilliant. I think it's beautiful.
The song is Feeling Good, by the way, everybody.
Probably should have mentioned that. Yes.
Let's move on to Joseph Quinn, our boy. What'd you think of Joseph Quinn?
I love Joseph Quinn. Honestly, ever since I mean, truly, Stranger Things. It was just like, I love him. So, and he was great in this. He was great, and I wasn't sure when we first see him if I was gonna be annoyed, because he kind of gives off that trait, and maybe it's just because Lupita is giving off like the "you're annoying," and I'm like, yeah, I'm with Lupita. You're annoying. Knock off. But it wasn't. She's just obviously going through her own stuff, and when we get to see him do the sweet, kind things that he does, I was like, oh, you're just adorable. You're just a sweet, sweet human, and I love you. Like he's so sweet in this, and Joseph Quinn is great at playing that part. You know, where you just kind of go, oh, you're just a good person. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at making you kind of love him. I feel like, you know.
Yeah, I think his character was very different from Eddie in Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that they wrote these two characters to journey together. Mm-hmm. This one woman who's on death's bed, and this guy who is alone in New York City. His entire family is in England.
Yeah.
He's scared to death, and he's prone to panic attacks.
Man.
But how much do you think I loved and was overjoyed at the idea that for at least 2 of the 3 panic attacks he has in this movie, the cat was what helped him?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Of course. Of course. Of course. It's perfect.
But the second time, she's the one that helps him. And I love the way she's just so patient with him, even though there's this freaking creature coming out of the ceiling of this flooded subway tunnel. Yeah. She's just sitting there going, breathe, breathe. Yes. And she's just like holding him and holding his face. And it's just, it's so touching, man.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is. Yeah, they were, honestly, I would love to see the chemistry test for this movie with those two kind of before they filmed, because I bet it was just fantastic. I bet it was, I bet when they saw it, they went, oh, there we go. We got it. We got it. We have the two. Because it's perfect. They're great in it together.
So good, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love, I love that the last shot we see of Eric is him on the boat holding Frodo in the sweater. Or in the blanket. I think it's the blanket, sorry.
Right, he has the sweater on, though. Mm-hmm.
He's holding Frodo, and he finds the note from Samira. And that note was, that's what got me tearing up the last time I watched it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, of course, yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, she's just telling him, don't rub my cat's belly. He doesn't like it. Don't feed him too much, he'll get fat. And it's funny because I don't know if it was on purpose, but the first 2 lines is, don't rub his belly. He doesn't like that. Don't feed him too much or he'll get fat.
Yeah. Oh.
And it rhymes.
Yep. Totally.
And she's a poet. And I was like, oh, come on. Was that on purpose? Awesome. But then the rest of it doesn't rhyme.
Right. Right.
And she just tells him that she was so thankful that he helped her rediscover her love for the city.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And I mean, you do kind of see that too. Not at the beginning. You see that she's. I mean, as many would be. I mean, if you're dying, you're angry, and she is angry, and she even talks a little bit about that. How she's just angry, which is totally understandable. I get it. I've seen it, but it's a beautiful moment because she does say that. It's almost like you brought her a little bit of peace before she was gonna go. I mean, that's
absolutely
beautiful.
The last actor, everybody was great in this, but Alex Wolff.
Yeah. I immediately was like, Hereditary.
I was too.
Yeah.
But I've seen him in other things. I've seen he was in M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Yes. Yep. I saw that.
And I didn't realize it until I watched it yesterday, but he was in Pig.
What? I don't remember that.
Are you serious? He was like the only other main character besides Nicolas Cage. Him and the truffle guy. That's Alex Wolff.
See, I watched that before Hereditary, so I guess I wasn't... Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
So when we talked about Hereditary, I should have been like, this is Alex Wolff that you might remember from Pig, and you would have been like, what?
Yeah. Wild.
Let me tell you, buddy.
Cool.
I loved Alex Wolff before this because his performance in Hereditary is unbelievable.
Agreed.
But his performance in this just threw my appreciation for him through the roof. He actually went to a bunch of hospices before doing this to study for the part. And the gentleness and the patience and the subtle kindness that he portrays in this movie, it's just yet another element of this movie that moves me like so much. Because she's freaking out in front of the theater because he's telling her they have to go back. There's an emergency. They have to go back to the hospice. And so she's watching her last chance to go to Patsy's disappear. And she starts freaking out. And he has such patience with her. Yeah. He's stern with her, but he's also patient. And
that's true.
And that you can tell by the way he plays the character that he does care about her. It's not a romantic relationship at all.
No,
but he cares about her so much.
Yeah. And I think that's, and being someone that works in that situation, you are going to care for everybody. I mean, you're the one of the last people they're ever going to see. Like, you need to have that gentleness, calmness, that love. And I agree. I think he played it perfectly.
But I felt like he cared about Samira more than anybody else at that hospice.
I would agree with that. I would agree. Yep. for sure. And like you said, it wasn't romantic. It wasn't like a will they, won't they, kind of thing. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just, I want to make sure you're okay, or I want to be there for you, maybe.
I can't imagine, and this is just theorizing, but I imagine working at a hospice is difficult.
Yeah.
But I do imagine that there are people that are in that hospice that you feel more sympathy for.
Oh, sure. I would agree.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, elderly people, they're nearing the end of their days. They've had a long life, but then you have this young girl who comes in who should have many more years to live. And it's touching, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't imagine. I could never. More power to anyone that can work there. That'd be a tough job. It'd be really tough.
So let me tell you, did that jump scare get you when he died?
Yeah. Yes. Well, and mind you, I'm watching with Cindy, who's kind of cuddled up next to me and screams in my ear, which then makes me jump even more. Oh gosh. So yeah, we jumped.
I hated that death because when you watch it a second and third time, it's one of those moments, even though you know how it's going to end up, you're just like, just stay behind the generator.
Yes.
Stay behind the generator. Be quiet.
Yep.
And he gets up, and sure enough, he thinks he's being quiet enough, but
right.
They don't know these creatures that well yet. So
yeah, exactly.
It's not unrealistic. It's just so frustrating because he's such a cool character. And the second time, it got me again. That jump scare, I jumped on my couch. I was like, what? Oh, I knew that was coming, you son of a...
Yep. Oh, I know. Oh, we definitely got on that one.
And that was frustrating in a couple places. Characters doing things that I was like, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
But the other one I felt better about after repeat viewings, and that was Eric following Frodo into the weird farming grounds.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I think that may be another tiny quibble of mine, is that we see what these creatures are doing.
Right.
We see this fluorescent pink slime. We see one creature who is larger than the others. Mm-hmm. Even though I'll be honest, I didn't realize he was that much larger than the others.
I didn't either.
Because they didn't show him next to the others. I know that when we see his head next to Eric's, I was like, oh man, these creatures are huge.
Yeah.
But again, in the bonus features, they're like, oh, this one's a bigger one. He's the one that calls everybody else to dinner. And if Michael Sarnoski in these bonus features hadn't mentioned that these were farming grounds where they're farming dead humans to feed on, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't need to know everything about these creatures.
Right.
I've heard some complaints that people were hoping for more background of the creatures since we were going back to day one.
I'm okay with that, not knowing.
Yeah, me too. Me too, completely.
Yeah. I don't need to know. They're doing what they do. That's good.
But I think if you're going to show something like that, make it a little more apparent what it is. Like maybe show some human bodies being put into this mixture or whatever it is.
Right.
So that we know we're feeding on it. Yeah. But the thing I was going to talk about is during that whole scene, the first time I watched it, I was like, why are you climbing up that rebar? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, that's not rebar, is it? It's beams.
Yeah.
Metal beams.
Yeah.
Because it's a construction area. But he climbs up there to get Frodo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the cat's been fine. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you climbing up this thing and risking making noise?
Yeah.
Just stay behind the scaffolding.
That's fair. That's a very valid point.
On rewatches, I realized that he feels responsible for Frodo.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that this is Samira's best friend.
Right. True.
And so when Frodo goes into that area, he follows Frodo to try and get Frodo. He's like, no, don't go. And then when Frodo gets on the beam, he feels that it's his responsibility to get Frodo down.
Right. I get that.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the smartest, but, putting yourself in harm's way for a cat, I get it.
Hey, if that was Ziggy, you'd be up there in a minute. in a second.
Oh my God. I don't know if I would. I love Ziggy, but I know how loud Ziggy is, and I'd be like, buddy, I'm sorry. This is going to kill me. It's going to destroy my heart, but you're going to kill me if I go up there. You're going to meow, and we're dead.
And then I show up and go, I've got this, because it's my responsibility.
And then a creature attacks you as soon as you say, I got this.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Dang it.
And then they just
Why did I
feast
say
on
that?
me. You're like, oh my God.
Why did I talk out loud? What did you think of the scene where Eric and Samira are chased by all the creatures?
Oh,
It's one of
yeah.
the-
Yes. Oh,
Like the main centerpiece action scene. What did you think of that?
I liked it. I mean, it was good. It was fun. Like the or fine, I should say. The revolving door stressed me out. I was like, just get through it. So that was really stressful.
Or just stay there and be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just don't
Stop trying to push it open.
Everything you're doing right now is wrong. Like, knock it off. So yeah, that was a little like stressful. And I feel like, did we get a jump scare there too? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought we got another one right there, or
I don't know.
I feel like maybe,
Because I
don't remember.
I know
can't
they
remember.
run from the creatures. The
Mhm.
creatures are dropping down from the walls of the
That was pretty cool.
buildings,
That
which
was
we've seen in the trailers. I didn't ever watch the trailer for this, but
I didn't either.
I watched it after I've seen the movie, and it's one of the main scenes in the trailer where you see all these creatures dropping down.
Of course.
And then the one creature follows them down into
Yes.
the subway.
Yep.
And that's not the creature that drowns in the water afterwards. There's a second creature that's sitting inside this
Oh, that's
hole in the roof
right.
as they're floating underneath it, and they shine a flashlight up. And that's
That's
to me, that's scary.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, actually, you know what I thought of when I saw that? Yeah, I forgot about that. What I thought of was the Jurassic Park ride at Universal. When you look up and, and the T-Rex head kind of comes through or something. It was one of those moments and I was like, ah!
Raptor.
A raptor. It's the raptor. Yes, thank you. The raptor. Yeah, I was like, that's perfect. Like, it definitely gave me that moment of like, oh, I remember that feeling. And the first time you go on it, too, it's that creepy feeling. So I was like, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. That scene displayed something that I really appreciated about this movie, in that it seemed like every time this movie started to extend your disbelief just a little bit too much,
Mhm.
it did something that was okay. I believe it. Like when Samira's walking through all the people in the city,
Mm-hmm.
the first time I watched it, I'm like, these people would be making a lot of noise.
Right.
And I really appreciated, again, on repeat viewings, what they did with the sound in that moment, because when we first see the people marching, there's no sound.
Right.
And then as she's walking, the sound builds and builds. And you realize the sound was probably there the whole time, but for the sake of the art of the movie,
Right.
you hear it building until it's just like a cacophony of noise.
Right.
By the way, I love that word. Cacophony is a great word, isn't it?
It is a great word. It is a great word. Cacophony.
Cacophony.
Cacophony. Hold on, I got a cacophony. Sorry. Dumb. Sorry.
But right when you're like wondering that they're making so much noise, then you see the creature on the side of the building and it jumps and all chaos ensues.
Right.
It's the same thing in that action sequence, the chase sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you think, okay, like these creatures attack people with such alien speed,
Right.
why aren't they just attacking? We see the one creature behind the pole, and right when you think that, Eric throws a rock through one of the car windows and the alarm goes off and you're like, oh, that's so smart.
Yep. I did like that.
So
One thing I enjoy, or like I appreciated, was that we do see the government realize like pretty quick that they make noise. And I like that we see the planes or the helicopters making noise and kind of moving them away as they're saying, get to this area. We're going to have like a safe spot. I was like, I thought that was smart because it's given people kind of a chance to hopefully give them a couple minutes to kind of get where they need to go. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Thinking ahead.
And the helicopters learn too. Like
Mhm.
we hear the helicopter above the theater at the beginning. And of course, day zero, the helicopters are going to fly too close to the
Right.
city. The creatures are going to jump up and knock them down. But then the next helicopters we see are flying too high for the creatures to jump to them.
Yep. In fact, I think we even see it like, in the background, a creature try and jump and fall. It's like a very pulled back scene, I think. I can't remember.
You know
Like
what?
when
I'm
we see
not
them all
sure.
running, kind of like it's like a pulled back where we see the helicopter, and I feel like I saw a creature jump towards it and just like it like lands over the building. You can't see it because you're so far out. I think. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure.
I think I'd like to go back and watch that scene to see
right.
if you're right, because that's a pretty cool detail. I'm always watching the little creatures skittering up the sides of the roofs like spiders.
Yep.
You know how much I love spiders.
Oh, I almost sent you a picture this week, but I said don't do it, Andrew.
Don't do it, Andrew.
So I didn't.
I have a few more notes
Yeah.
before we get to 3 questions.
Perfect.
Number 1, I did find somebody else that noticed this online, but it's interesting to me
Okay.
that when they come out of the underwater tunnel into the church
Mm-hmm.
and you see the sunlight beaming through the hole in the roof,
Yes.
did you notice that the hole is in the shape of Africa?
No, I did not.
Yeah. I don't know if that was just like a nod to Lupita, but
Huh.
yeah. I noticed that the 3rd time, and then I looked it up, and there was a review on a page that mentioned it as well.
Dope. That's cool. Okay.
I'm not the only person that noticed.
I definitely did not notice that.
I wanted to talk about real quick
Yeah.
something that is one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie,
Oh, yeah, please.
especially the viewings, but the marionette show.
Yes. Oh, I don't know why I didn't have that written down. I loved it. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. That was awesome.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And just to watch it on repeat viewings from the point of view of Samira,
Mm-hmm.
who is dying and she sees this, and just the carving of the marionette puppet is beautiful.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
The magic of the guy having the puppet blow up a balloon and float with it and then popping it and startling the kids in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of the most beautiful moments.
I actually did think after watching that, I was like, I would love to go to a show like that. I would love it. That sounds amazing.
You know what? I thought about it too, and they actually have a marionette theater in Highland Park.
Nuh-uh.
And every time I go over there to get food or whatever, I always see it, and I'm always curious. I'm like, oh, that would be interesting. So yeah, it's weird.
That's
I also wanted a little behind the scenes while we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Simon Bowles was the production designer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they created New York City on a backlot.
Oh,
Like
geez.
that's all. I think there are a few scenes that are actually New York, but most of it is a backlot, and they had to create the street, the Chinatown, which is where
Right.
the marionette theater is.
Mhm.
They created that street, and then they had to redress it all torn up.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And then they had to recreate Harlem.
Oh my gosh.
One of the coolest things in preparation for this movie, Simon Bowles and Michael Sarnoski actually walked from Chinatown to Harlem in
Mhm.
New York City just to get a feel for what it actually felt like
Sure.
to make that walk that Samira is going to do in the movie.
That's cool.
They ended their walk at Patsy's.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I thought that was really cool.
That's really cool. I love that. Aw.
Finally, I got to say that even my 3rd time watching this movie, like my 2nd and 3rd time, I had my cats with me.
Oh,
I had
jeez.
Bowie in my lap the 2nd time. I had Ziggy right next to me. The 3rd time, the cats were walking around. I think part of the movie, Bowie got in my lap. Same thing. Bowie and Ziggy right next to me. But there was a moment where Bowie got up, and I had that kind of feeling that you had in the theater the first time you saw A Quiet Place,
Mhm.
where Bowie went over by the TV and she goes, meow. And I was just like, shh, quiet. Oh my God. And, you know, it's just like an instinctual thing, like, be quiet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So that was fun.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. I know I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but I do wonder what my thoughts would have been like. Oh, that brings me to another question, but I'll get to it in a sec. What my thoughts would have been like had I seen this in the theaters, because 1 and 2 were it was such a unique movie experience because everyone in those theaters was feeling the same thing you were and was quiet because we were all in this environment together. It's a movie, obviously. We're all sitting watching a screen, but you could just tell we're all hooked and in this movie, or in this moment. I wonder what this would have been like. I kind of do wish I'd seen this in theaters just out of curiosity, for my own curiosity.
That is a great thing to talk about. And I remember we kind of hinted that we were going to talk about this in our last episode.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it up because I did see this in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, maybe because of Frodo the cat, I didn't feel that silence, that need to be silent in the theater.
Okay.
It's interesting. I think the first two movies did a great job of having you as the audience wanting to be quiet,
Right.
to not attract these creatures. I don't think this movie focused on that as much as it did the human journey in this movie. And that's
True.
why I love this movie second.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Because it is a human journey. I didn't feel the need to be silent in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
The theater was quiet.
Right. Sure.
But as you're saying, you remember what it was like. Everybody in the theater felt like they had to be quiet.
Right.
I remember the first time when I saw the first movie, when somebody would just eat popcorn, you're like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think I felt that pressure in this third movie.
I guess that makes sense too. And like, I would say this movie is louder for sure than the other two, for sure. So that makes sense as well.
That's true, because it does take place in New York.
Right. And not all the rules are made yet too for a bit of it, or not everyone knows kind of what they're about. So,
dude, sorry, we keep coming up with new things. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Another thing, the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how you mentioned the helicopters telling people to be quiet, because my first thought when she woke up in the theater was like, dude, it's like the first night. How do these people already know to be quiet?
Mm-hmm.
I will talk about the beginning of A Quiet Place Part 2 right now.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
Because in this movie, I realized that, the helicopters are telling them to be quiet. Samira has been unconscious for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's believable that in that amount of time, these people have learned that these creatures are attracted to noise.
Right. Yep.
Now, when I rewatched A Quiet Place Part 2, here we go. Slight spoilers, just the very beginning of the movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
We know it opens up with the alien invasion
Right.
in the town that Krasinski's family lives in.
Right. Yep.
The chaos that's happening as these creatures are attacking this town, this little tiny town. And I remember, like, Krasinski runs into the bar, I think it is, where there's people hiding in the bar.
Yes. Correct. Yep.
And he immediately knows, like, be quiet, be quiet. And I'm like, it's been pretty chaotic. How do you know that they're attracted to noise?
That's a solid point, dude.
I give the movie that, but he learned it a little too fast in that movie for me.
I get that. That makes sense.
I appreciated that they gave you reasons to believe that these people would have learned in this movie.
My other thing, it's kind of not related, but it was what we talked about last episode where, and I think we were going to bring it up this one, just out of curiosity, but we were talking about the whole Blockbuster thing, going to rent a movie. I believe you mentioned with this one, you saw it in theaters and then hadn't seen it until you were at home, right? Did you get that same feeling? Because we had kind of discussed.
Oh, yeah.
It. Nice. Okay.
Definitely. Definitely.
I love it. I love it.
In fact, I got it both the second and third time.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh,
So,
that's sweet. I just had
It
to
is
ask.
sweet. Are you ready for 3 questions?
Let's do it, buddy.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right, friend. Question number 1. Yeah. I can see on your face. What is the best death or kill, in this movie, man?
I could go with Samira
Mm-hmm.
because I love the fact that she dies on her own terms. But you know what? I just love the fact that idiot screaming in the middle of the intersection just got killed right away. So I'm going to go with the random girl in the middle of the intersection yelling for her boyfriend when everybody knows that you got to be quiet.
Brilliant. Oh, I love it.
What about you?
Samira. Yeah, that was what I picked because I was we'd already kind of discussed it, but I like that she went out on her own. As someone that has seen sickness take people, I like that she said no. I thought that was pretty solid. So
Yeah.
that's that one for other reasons as well. Was my favorite, even though we don't see it, we know it.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. This is interesting. So was this question number 2? Was this movie scary?
I was scared very much so for the cat.
Yeah, there you go.
So yes, I thought this movie was scary. It didn't scare me afterwards because these creatures don't exist.
Right.
Like I said, when I was sitting here at home, even the third time, if I heard noises like a car alarm went off outside, that was another one. I remember there was a car alarm and Bowie meowing.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, when Bowie meowed, I was like, well, you just failed the Quiet Place test.
And your cat was watching A Quiet Place, like knew what was happening. I mean,
She
come
knew.
on. Come on.
Bowie's dumb.
But Bowie's so cute though, so it's okay.
Bowie's so cute, but she's no Frodo.
I was trying to think of like a dumb character from Lord of the Rings that I could be like, she's no Frodo, but all of them are bad guys, and I don't want to say that Bowie's a bad guy, so I couldn't think of anybody. Oh well. All right. I think. For me too. Not this. Actually, it didn't scare me because like I had already talked about it. I kind of felt like I might know the end, and so I kind of was expecting a bit of that. So it didn't scare me. And again, with you, I know these creatures aren't real, so it doesn't scare me. So it wasn't scary to me.
I really do want you to watch it a second time.
Okay, I do want to. This is one I do want to watch because I do love A Quiet Place. I love the universe. I love what they've created. It is fun, and I would like to watch this one again for sure.
I do again. Well, go ahead with the third question. I'll talk about it.
Okay, so which I think we know, but did you have fun with horror?
Yes. This movie. There's so many favorites of this year for me.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. I didn't mention it at the very beginning of the podcast, but I've also seen Strange Darling and Alien Romulus.
Yeah, dude.
And those movies are also in the running for best movie of the year, best horror movie, because they're both amazing. So many good horror movies this year. It's going to be really difficult to pick a favorite.
Oh, I'm excited for a year in review.
Yeah, seriously.
man.
And we still got more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what I was going to talk about now. So again, I'm going to reiterate what we said at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
A Quiet Place 1 was such an amazing movie when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep thinking to myself, do I like this movie more than Quiet Place Part 1 because this human story moves me so much emotionally?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think back to A Quiet Place Part 1 and I was like, well, A Quiet Place Part 1 had just as impactful of a story.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you had the deaf daughter.
Mm-hmm. You
had the son at the beginning of the movie. You had a pregnant wife. All these things led up to some very tense moments, but they were also you really felt for this family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Quiet Place Part 2 didn't really hit me that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think Quiet Place Part 2 was just a really good suspenseful movie.
Agreed.
But then A Quiet Place Day 1, I just love the story of Samira.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that John Krasinski didn't want to repeat Quiet Place 1 and 2.
Right.
He just didn't want the same movie, like, oh, here's these creatures, and by the end of the movie, we're going to figure out what their weakness is and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't about that. It was like, here's another story of somebody the first day of the invasion.
Which is cool. And again, kind of expands that world and allows, I don't know, I like that. I enjoy that because it does leave it up for other ones too. We could have more movies where I don't think we will. Or I don't know. That's not true. I don't know if we will. But it does leave it open for it could be some really beautiful stories like this again. Who knows? But I like that it's different.
It would be kind of cool to see Eric on the island.
That would be cool.
In A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah.
And showing him there when all hell breaks loose there.
Mm-hmm.
And then continuing his story. That's about the only thing I would want to see and have him maybe crisscross with...
Ooh, yeah. With the family.
With the family.
Right. That would be cool. Okay. I'll write Krasinski tonight, okay?
I'll write Sarnoski.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Maybe we can even ask if they can have, like, in the background of a scene, just a quick little fun with horror poster, like someone who's listening to us. I don't know, whatever. It's nothing big.
Yeah.
Little things.
A quote by Fun with Horror saying, "We love the skis."
I get you.
You gotta get to the water and get out of the city.
Where are you going?
I'm going to get pizza.
Well, that was fun. Thank you again, Scotty, for A Quiet Place Day 1. That was a good discussion. But, well,
Why are you thanking me? I didn't make the movie.
Honestly, you helped me like it even more. So there you go. Look at that. But our next movie is supposed to be my pick, but we're going to have a special guest instead pick the movie. And I'd like everyone to say hello to my brother Alex, who is going to pick our next movie. Alex, welcome to Fun with Horror.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited. This is going to be fun, new experience for me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. I know this is, when we did our first episode, it was awkward, man. You remember doing that? It was so awkward. We're like, what do we say? What do we do? Yeah, it was fun though. So yeah, we're excited, but we are letting you pick our next movie. So we'll let you kind of just say what you're picking, so the people know what to watch before the next episode.
Okay. Well, without further ado, then we are going to be watching De Uskudij. I'm sure I butchered that. But
What?
That is a Norwegian film called The Innocents.
Ah, there we go. Look at that. Wow.
Let me tell you, I am terrified of watching this movie. I'm sure Andrew has told you, Alex. So Andrew told me, like, near the beginning of the year that he wanted to have you on and that you wanted to watch and discuss this movie. And I have wanted to see this movie because I've heard it's really good. But I've also heard there's a small animal cruelty scene in it that I've been dreading watching. So
Okay. All right.
but I'll watch it for you.
So
I'll watch anything for Hilliard.
I did write down the times of that. So if you did want to skip past that, you can. That I wrote down the start and end times for that. So if that's something you would, choose to do, you absolutely can, because I did know that. I'm a longtime listener, been listening to your podcast for since the beginning. Listen to for every episode. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, man.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll send you $20 too for saying that. So.
thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun.
I guess my question is when people are listening, I wonder if people know who's who, because I've heard we sound alike too when it comes to like phone calls and stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, I think we definitely do.
Yeah.
Well, and I've heard that Andrew and I sometimes sound the same on the podcast. So if we all three sound the same, of course, right now Alex is on an iPhone or his mobile phone, and Andrew and I are on, beautiful, expensive microphones. So everybody can tell the difference now, but who knows when we record, if you get on a laptop or something, woo,
Yep.
it's going to be
Yeah,
great.
Well, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for this movie, guys. This is one that it's one that sticks with me. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But it really sticks with me. Something I think about a lot.
When was the last time you saw it?
I watched it last night.
Oh my God, you're prepared.
Yeah,
Wow.
So, okay.
yeah. I watched
Awesome.
it last night, and that was the second time I've seen it, and just as good as the first, honestly.
Wow.
I didn't know you watched it again last night. All right, man. Well done.
And you know
Yeah.
what? When we post this episode, we're gonna post the time codes that Alex wrote down, so that anybody that wants to skip the animal scene and has to do with a kitten, I believe, right?
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, we'll mark that down so people can skip it. I'm gonna watch it once because I'm a completionist. I have to subject myself to things. But also I want to see, let's see if it's going to overshadow the whole movie for me, like Frodo did in A Quiet Place Day One. Have you seen A Quiet Place Day One, Alex?
I have not. I think I might try to watch that with my oldest today or tonight.
Nice.
And your
Yeah.
oldest is 3? No, I'm
Yes.
kidding. I'm kidding. See, this is great. Another Hilliard, and he gets our jokes. Like,
For sure.
He gets it.
I didn't even have to explain it to him. He was like, "Oh, I get it."
One of us.
And let me tell everybody out there, having both of you on the Zoom camera, they really do look alike. It's like talking to two Andrews. This is fantastic.
I know we recently someone saw us and said, "Are you two twins?" that is a statement someone said.
And to be clear, you're not, right?
We are not.
We're not.
You're not even related.
No.
Correct. Yes, we were both adopted to different families, actually.
Mhm. Yes.
Unlike Julian Hilliard from The Haunting of Hill House, who is Andrew's son.
Yeah. he does. Yeah. He does look like he could be mine. So,
all this is a joke.
Yes.
I did want to mention too that there for the Innocents, no animals were harmed in that. There is a caption. It's in it's not in English, but there's a caption at the end that does say no animals were harmed in the making of the film.
Okay, that's very important.
Yes. Good.
So this is not another cannibal Holocaust situation, is what we're saying.
That's right.
No.
So okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah,
this is going to be amazing. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with Alex and Andrew, and we will be talking about The Innocents.
Woohoo.
And I believe The Innocents is available to stream on Shudder right now. So
Nice.
It is.
All right.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Al. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for joining us next episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thank you, everybody out there, for listening.
Yes.
Remember, if you want to leave us a review and a rating like Alex has never done on Apple, that would be really amazing, and it really helps the podcast. Also, if you would like to become a patron with horror, Alex has become a patron for free. Real supportive of his brother is what we're finding out.
Wow, under the bus, man. Holy moly.
I'm extremely cheap, guys. I'm sorry. And I don't know how to do like the reviews and things. I'm old.
I mean,
it's okay.
That's fair.
Andrew has told me about your 7 children, and I know life is crazy for
Yeah.
you. So
soon to be 12. Yeah, we're having.
Wow, you're just jumping from 7 to 12.
Yeah, we're having
children.
quintuplets. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awful.
All right, well, on that note, thank you everybody for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join us in 2 weeks for The Innocents. This is Scotty, and I love you.
This is Andrew, and I love you.
And this is Alex, and I love you.
Yes, we all love you.
We love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'd forgotten how the city sings. You can hear it when you're quiet.